it's Ian from RTO here. Welcome to Thursday, and Thursday means it's Battle of the Debuts today, and we have got a really good one. It is going to be called the Battle of Wales, because both bands are from Wales. They are the Manic Street Preachers and the Stereophonics, both very good bands, very similar in styles. So it's always the band that released first that goes first. So in this case it is the Manic Street Preachers. They were formed in Blackwood, Caerphilly in 1986, and the band at the time consisted of cousins James Dean Brayfield, who was lead vocals and lead guitar, and Sean Moore on drums, plus Nicky Wire on the bass. They performed a key part of the 1990s Welsh Cymru cultural movement. So they released a debut single called Suicide Alley, and then the Manic Street Preachers were joined by guitarist Richie Edwards. So they became a quartet. Very successful career, and then in, of course, 1995 Richie Edwards disappeared. So they still carried on. It was a hard time for them, but they managed to conquer it and become very successful, and still making good records today. So it all started back in 1992 when they released their debut album called Generation Terrorists. Now, playing on this is definitely James Dean Brayfield, lead vocals, lead and rhythm and acoustic guitars, Sean Moore on the drums, and Nicky Wire on the bass. Now, it's on the album, it's credited as Richie Edwards or Richie James, but he doesn't perform anything. There are other people on the bat thing as well. We got Dave Engrot on piano, Richard Cottle does some keyboards, got Tracy Lords on some of the vocals, Spike Edney on keyboards. Now Spike Edney, of course, is connected with Brian May and Queen. Then backing May vocals from May McKenna, Jackie Chancellor and Lorenzo Johnson. And this album was produced by Steve Brown, and track 8 by the Bomb Squad, whoever the Bomb Squad are. So the first track on this one is called Slash and Burn. This is a classic track from the Preachers. I've always liked this. It's got a great bass line on it from Nicky Wire. Really good track. Then we get the fun track, Nat West, Barclays, Midlands and Lloyds. Great track. Sticking two fingers up at the big four banks at the time. It's a great track. It's great vocals from James. Really like that. Born to End is just a good old-fashioned rock song. Driving riffs, great drumming. What more do you need? It's just good old-fashioned 90s rock. Sean Moore is great on the drums on that one. Then we got Mike to Cycle Emptiness. It's 6 minutes long, but you wouldn't think that. It's a great guitar solo on this from James. He's a really good guitar player. I like this track a lot. Then we got You Love Us. This is my favourite track on the album. Again, it's just a hard hitting rock track. Great bass line. You know, James was doing everything here. Absolutely brilliant. With Nicky Wire doing that little bass line, you've got James doing all the guitar work. Excellent track. Love Sweet Exile. I love the change of the pace in this. It starts off very acoustic, and then we come bang. Great track. Little Baby Nothing. This is the one I've never been keen on. It just doesn't think. Repeat Stars and Stripes. Again, one of the weaker tracks. Then we get Tennessee, a great track. It's Nicky Wire's bass line that really drove the song along. Fantastic little song. And Another Invented Disease, solid track. Some great riffs here. James doing the duties of all the rhythm and lead guitars. Stay Beautiful, really good. Some really aggressive drumming from Sean on this. Excellent track. So Dead, such a catchy tune. Again, it's that bass line from Nicky Wire that really gives it the oomph, and it's a great vocal from James. Then we get Repeat, another good track. It's a great solo on it. I love the sirens at the beginning of this. Spectators of Suicide, definitely a good track again. Good stuff. Damn Dog, very punk, very Ramones. Going back to those, how they started as a post-punk band, very good. Crucifix Kiss. Sorry. Another great track. My second favourite track on this. It's just that riff and solo from James. Absolutely thing. Methadone Pretty. Plenty of driving riffs. A good drum beat as well. Condemned to Rock and Roll. I've got a great driving bass line from Nicky. Love this track. Okay, there are a lot of tracks on this, but they're damn good. It's an absolute dynamite of a debut album. I do like playing this. I think it's got lots of energy. And it's quite ironic that this is the three-piece that went on to be very successful after Richie disappeared. So they've done a full circle out, so it's just a great album. So that's what I think of it. So let's have a think of what the critics thought of it. So when it came out, it was greeted by favourable reception from the magazines such as Kerrang and Raw and NME. Andy Gill, music critic for The Independent, highlighted in a review when the album was reissued that the music was derided as sub-clash in other contemporary appraisals, but remarked that it has an astringent edge. The album's length and lack of quality control were common criticisms. Richie Edwards, I don't know what he said because he didn't play on. Everybody knows the first album would have been better if we'd left all the crap off. The underproduction of the album was a common cause of complaint among the band's adherents until the superior mix of the anniversary edition. I must admit the anniversary edition is pretty good. But nevertheless, people said that it was a damn good album. So let's have a look at the scores on the Doors. All Music gave it a 4 stars. Alternative Press gave it 4 stars. The BBC gave it a favourable. Clash gave it 8 out of 10. Drowned in Sound 8 out of 10. The Guardian gave it a 4 out of 5. Independent a 4 out of 5. The NME gave it 10 out of 10. Q gave it a 4 out of 5. And the Quietus gave it a favourable. So pretty good. How did it do in the charts? Well, it got to number 1 in the rock chart in 1992, number 13 in the mainstream UK charts, didn't chart in America, number 60 in Japan. And when it was reissued and remastered, it still managed to get to number 48 in the UK charts. And over the years, it has gained a gold certificate. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this one. Song quality. Okay, there's a lot of tracks on them, but majority of them are good. So I shall give that a 4 out of 5. Production. Yeah, some of the production's a little bit. Ew. They rejustified that in 2012. But on the whole, I thought it was a well-produced album. I like it. I like the rawness of it. So I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5. Reception went down well with the critics. It got to number 1 in the rock charts, but number 13 in the main chart. 48 when it was reproduced, when it was remastered. So it's done all right with the gold. So I should give that a 3 out of 5. Cover design. It's sort of all right. I don't know. It'd go down today if it came out. That someone would complain about it. It's pretty iconic cover from the 90s. So I should give that a 3 out of 5. So for Manic Street Preachers, A Generation Terrorist, gives us a total of 14 out of 20. So let's move on to the other band in Wales, the Stereophonics, who were formed in the year that Manic Street Preachers released their first album in 1992 in the village of Cwmran in the Sion Valley in Wales. The band consists of Kelly Jones, Richard Jones, who are no relation, Adam Zidani, Jamie Morrison. And they've also had Stuart Cable was in the band at the beginning, and Xavier Welder was as well. So they had, again, very successful career, very good band, 12 really good albums, which we'll be ranking at some stage. So their debut album, Word Gets Around, was released on the 25th of August 1997. Now, it was actually recorded between October 1992 and February 1997, so it's taken a long time for them to get them out. So playing on this is Stuart Cable, Kelly Jones on guitars and vocals, Richard Jones on the bass. You've got Marshall Bird doing keyboards, Nadia Landman on the cello on Bill Davies' Daughter, Richard Praed accordion, and it was produced by Bird and Bush. First track on here is called 1,000 Trees. I love this. The riff from Kelly Jones is great. He's a great singer, Kelly Jones. Really good track. Looks like Chaplin. Solid enough track, but I think it lacks the depth. It just needs a little bit more beef, as I call it. A little bit more beef. Very, very good. More in a Tramps best. Love this. Some great drumming here from Stuart. Really, really good. He was a good drummer. Local boy in the photograph. Good track. But again, it just lacks a little bit of beef. They all should have had that extra Weetabix. Then we get Traffic, my favourite track on the album. I like this one because the keyboard gives it that depth that some of the tracks are missing. It's a really good track. Not Up to You. It's okay, it just lacks depth again. The guitars need to be a little bit richer. I've heard this live and it sounds, again, so much better live. Check My Eyelids for Holes. A bit hollow. It's a shame. The bass is good, but the rest of the track, it just lacks something. Same Size Feet. See, when they do put that extra beef behind it, it really sounds good. And this is my second favourite track on this album. The last of the Big Time Drinkers is next. Too much distortion on reverb. It's a little weak. Bit of a mismatch, that track. Goldfish Bowl, plenty of bass, sounds better. You get a great bass line on any track, and it just builds that track up a bit better. A little bit of harmonica in this one again, which is nice. Too Many Sandwich, great vocal from Kelly. it's a really all-round track. A lot of thought went into this one, and it sounds a lot better. Bill, Davy's daughter, is a lovely acoustic thing. I think if he didn't have the cello on it, it'd be a little bit dreary. So what do I think of this? It's a very strong album in my opinion, but there is a but. Some of the tracks are a little bit hollow. Kelly Jones is a great singer, but they sort of, as time went on, they sort of developed that sound. All it needed was a bit more bass or an extra guitar, and all the tracks would be good. And I've heard lots of these tracks live, obviously, and they sound a lot better live. So these songs are good, but they just didn't get that mix quite right on that first album. So I couldn't see many reviews of this album. I looked everywhere, but all I found was the pushed professional rating. So AllMusic gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Galterian Musical gave it a 4 out of 5. Kerrang gave it 4 out of 5. NME gave it a 7 out of 10. Pitchfork gave it a 5.8 out of 10. Sputnik Music gave it a 3.5, and Vox 8 out of 10. How did it do in the charts? It was number 6 in the UK albums, number 29 in Ireland, 35 in France. So it didn't do too bad. Certifications. This one went 3 times platinum. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this one. Song quality, again, some very good songs, well written, short, sharp, punchy ones and some intricate ones. So I should give that a 4 out of 5. Production, I think this is where this album lets itself down a little bit, because as I said, some of the tracks are quite hollow. They just need a little bit more work on it. So I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. Reception, it went down huge. A platinum album, and it only got to number 6 in the UK charts. So if you can get a platinum only peaking at number 6, pretty good. So I should give that a 4 out of 5. Cover design, I like this cover. It's a colourful colour. I think my only criticism is that the word Stereophonics needs to be a little bit more bolder, but on the whole it's a very colourful and eye-catching cover. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 for that one. If the name of the band was a little bit more prominent, it probably would have got a 5. So for Stereophonics, Word Gets Around gives us a grand total of 15 out of 20. As the points say, it's a win for the Stereophonics. But out of the 2 albums, when you listen to them against each other, the Manic Street Preachers album is a lot more punchier in sound, grittier guitars, same sort of production, but I think as the structure of the songs, the Manic Street Preachers album Generation Terrorist has got more beef. But of course, as time went on, both bands developed a sound, and what the Stereophonics have done in this day and age is a lot better than this. Both bands did develop and get a better sound. So I'm actually going to give this one to the Manic Street Preachers today. But You always seem to decide this one more than me. This is just my opinion, but it goes out to you now, to you to decide. The poll is in the community, or just put your answers in the description and the comments below this, wherever you watch it. And don't forget, it also is on the live stream poll tonight. So up next today we have got Pick and Mix, and we're going to go through the camera's view this week, and we're going to take a look at a Mike Oldfield DVD that he recorded live at Edinburgh Castle, where he performed the whole of Tubular Bells 2. So that's coming up next. And don't forget, tonight it is live stream 8 PM British Summer Time at 12 noon on the Pacific coast of America and 3 PM on the eastern side of the Americas. So I will see you in a bit. Bye for now.